Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness, Lori's still, hold on. Here she comes.
Now we have two Lauries.
She's probably having trouble with one of them. I don't know. I can always send one to the waiting room if it gets weird. Lori, you're in here twice. Okay, so I'm recording all that. That's great. It's June 17th, 2024, and we're having an amazingly huge and wonderful and energetic writing workshop for the people in this new term. This term, next week is module 6, and it's all about characterization and doing better with it. So I wanted to kick off with the old hats here, the people who've been coming for a while and who are starting their own work and who are getting into like the Emerson Popular Fiction MFA program. And yeah, that's you, Jessie. I'm pointing at you.
I'm so happy to you.
I had to write a letter of recommendation yesterday, and I will open up an old one and, get inspired by it. And I wrote you a fine letter.
It was so good it got me in.
No, your work got you in, but I was glad to be part of the support crew. Anyway, all of you who have this experience already, what's your best advice on characterization for the people who are in 529 right now, who are like Kevin and Fernanda, and I'm assuming Katie, unless she's one of your people from the other side?
My advice is don't make them too perfect. Your character needs a flaw.
Very nice.
Mine is don't go for cliche.
Yes, don't like make them too much of what they are. Yeah.
Not so much of what they are, but it's just like, they're not all, goths aren't all goths, and young Gen Zs aren't. Everyone's got something that doesn't fit the mold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Contradictions, right? Like every
Mhm.
person has contradictions in them, so your character should too.
Here we go. In grown-up words, contradictions.
Yeah, make them do something really unexpected and out of character to make us sit up and pay attention who they kind of are at the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? And it's okay to have a main character be not likable. I mean, if that's who they are, feel confident to do that, right? If the rest of you who have been in this remember, they are going to be studying for sure the things they carried and stop and go. One of the other pieces that you usually study now is that one with the thrift store. Oh, do you guys remember the name of it? I mean, I teach this almost every term. I just didn't teach it last term, and now I'm not as fresh on it. But the one where the mom, is not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the 3 stories that they're going to be working on, and they're supposed to pull characterization out of that, like, talk about characterization and another fictional element with it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, well, for those of you who know me well, what are some things I'm expecting them to do to succeed? Because I'm one of the few. There isn't a word count for this. You'll want to do your word count for sure in module 7 when you turn in your next draft of the story. You still can be a minimum of 1,500 in module 7, and your maximum is 2,500. And I allow 50 extra words for like the information block and stuff. But they're right. I'm really strong about that word count because you guys tell me, is it worth having to shorten something down?
Oh, for sure. You get rid of all of the excess that really doesn't contribute to your story, and you're forced to only include things that are going to, build your arc or your character or whatever it is. Everything is meaningful.
Thank you, Jessie. I think it's more powerful when it's not just me saying it.
I think it also makes you choose your words more wisely. So you have to find words that are a lot more descriptive than just one word. So it's like, I think it's in native Inuit or something, there's like 25 words for snow or something, and each one has a slightly different flavor. So it's making sure that you're doing the same when you choose your words for whatever it is you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, so succeeding in all the work that would be considered academic, like analyzing or, you know, anything that's like a short paper or whatever, you know, what advice do you have for succeeding with me?
For succeeding with your criteria specifically,
Yeah.
well, some advice that I had received from you around, I think around this point when I was in your class, is to blow it up. Like, take the work that I'd already done and pick an angle that felt unnatural for it and explore it. Because like we were saying, you have your contradictions and you can push it to the extreme in order to find what the essence is of either your character or your story or all that. And it was very successful for me.
Oh, I
So,
love that. I love that. That's
Yeah.
about your creative writing. Definitely
Yes.
blow it up. And module 7 is the time to do it.
mhm,
You know, take a different point of view,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah. I
kill
think
off someone.
in my story, it went from turning the dad from not embracing alcohol after the grandfather died to becoming an alcoholic.
But it was
But
perfect.
yeah, because I blew it up. So,
Yeah, yeah. And that won you a second place in that contest, right?
it was a finalist, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. The alcoholic dad worked.
Yeah.
And in things like journals and short papers, I expect you to find outside experts. That's what I was fishing for.
Oh, yikes.
No, really great advice for the creative writing. Absolutely. Hey, look
Mhm.
at Kevin putting, is that the textbook? You were holding up a
Yeah,
book.
that's the complete handbook of novel writing, third edition
Yeah.
from the Writer's Digest. So
Yeah, that's a fantastic outside resource. Hey, but all I'm asking is you can even just quote from charters. You know, I don't even expect you to go find another book, but Kevin, that is above and beyond. That's amazing. But yeah, even, you know, somebody like me who's been at this for years and years, really focused on it, and I feel like I know a lot, I will back up much of what I say in a, you know, if I were being a student, for example, with another person's words on the same topic, because I'm not the expert until I am the expert. And right now I'm not. And so, I mean, I am in your class, but, you know, in other environments, I'm not. And so I make sure that I'm part of the same conversation. And something as simple as defining a term, like what you mean by characterization, just puts you and your other person on the same sheet of paper, so that, you know, you may mean this by characterization, but they may mean something else in their mind. So in a paper, you're like, this is what I mean by characterization. And now we're doing the same thing on what you're analyzing. And then the really easy second part is that you should be literally quoting from the work. You should be finding, you know, the parts that back up what you're trying to say. And this is the mechanical way of saying it. But the reason for doing it that's not mechanical is you're more deeply analyzing the words that the author is using, and you're getting a better sense of how they created the effect that you're admiring. And so direct quoting is all about you paying closer attention to the words and then, you know, osmosisly taking them in for yourself, right? The article about the senses that include a shift at the end. Oh, there's a really awesome, are you talking about the 5 S's, Sarah? Yeah, there's a really awesome, she took it down, so it's not online anymore.
I can't find it.
Yeah, exactly. She took it down, I don't know, in the last, like, say 6 months. And so now I have it somewhere. If you could see this room right now, you would be like, you'll never find it. But when you're writing, I'll go into a class I taught recently and screenshot my PowerPoint from that and share it with y'all. Okay, I've talked much too long about class, so we should get going with the fun part of what's happening here, right?
Yay.
Hey. So let me see if this will fit in the chat, and I will paste it in the chat. And if it won't, I'll just send you guys the Word document. Your message is too long. Try to send it in. You know what? I'm going to cut in half because not everybody can pull documents. This is the first half. The Minister of Loneliness isn't taking appointments. to try and find him. This is all in one paragraph when I send it to you. So don't think of it as 2 paragraphs. I just cut it in the middle so there would be time. Okay, this is it. Would somebody like to read this?
I will.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right, this is The Minister of Loneliness Isn't Taking Appointments by Amy Barnes. On the day the moon gets one too many depressions from space junk and marriage junk and work junk and finally falls into a lake, no one knows which one. His wife, who is surprised and also not, goes dark by association because she's a traditional spouse who always backs him up even when she's also worried she won't have enough money or patience to last the week. His buddies at the dock are worried. Her mother is worried, but also secretly glad he might have gone missing for good this time. There are search parties immediately formed, and everyone's gazes and searches into the water of their own lakes, the man-made and wife-made ones, woe begone, or woeful, or just gone, to try and find him. There's also a church meal train created for their family with moon cheese, head cheese, and tuna casseroles that she'll throw away because no one really likes those, and she knows the women have put judgment into them. The weekend passes with no signs of him. She finds him on Tuesday, soaking wet in his brown Barca lounger, matching Matlock like nothing happened. Like the town's July 4th fireworks weren't canceled and their kids didn't have to eat peanut butter and spoons for 3 days. He was missing because that's all was left in the cabinets. Yeah. I don't think she likes him.
and you know, I think this could be read in 2 different ways, right? The minister of loneliness isn't taking appointments. Who goes missing? And I chose to read it one specific way for the prompt, but it doesn't mean that that's how you read it.
Mhm.
So who do we think is missing here?
I thought it was the moon.
Yeah, it's really straightforward to read it as the moon. And that's how I wrote it for the prompt. Who else could be missing?
Well, I mean, the wife goes dark by association, so she kind of falls into the background of it,
Oh, nice.
you know?
Yeah, I was just thinking it could also be the minister of loneliness, right?
Mm.
Who isn't taking appointments. But I don't think that's the intention. I just think it's really interesting. I've been, ever since I read this earlier this morning, when I was like, I'm using it, even though I don't fully understand it. I'm trying to understand the presence of that title, because the way it's written is you're supposed to read the minister of loneliness isn't taking appointments on the day the moon gets, right? It's one of those titles. So what are our thoughts on why it's the minister of loneliness? And what does that have to do with the moon?
I
My
don't
brain goes, sorry. My brain goes to the E.E. Cummings poem, the Who Knows If the Moon's a Balloon.
Nice.
Yeah, with the, potential drug or potential suicide, and, it all kind of hinges on the use of the word keen. And, if you think keen means sharp, you can read it that things are cool and groovy. But if you take a peek at keen, 3rd or 4th definition down, you realize that it's a whale of grief. You read it backwards, and it's potentially heaven and death and all the darkness. So when you said the title, burns into the first line, I was like, oh, moon and burning in lines, Cummings.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I went.
Yeah, nice. I love it. I also love Katie's idea that they possibly are the same, that the minister of loneliness is the moon. That's a great idea too. And I see it as the moon going missing because the July 4th fireworks were canceled. So like, why would you cancel if just a person went missing, right?
Right, the moon doesn't leave us, but a person can.
Yeah. Nice. And that goes right into the prompt. I mean, we've been talking, but should we do the prompt? Because I got that amazing little shove from Sarah. All right, I'll put it in the chat. I know we didn't talk very long, but I'm eager for both to go too. So, so I want us to take a natural phenomenon, a volcano, a river, the Grand Canyon, the stars, like just take anything that's like real and big and personify it and have it go on vacation, trip over a rock, quit its job, any kind of action. Like take something that can't have an action, like the moon can't fall into a lake, although it does, right? When it sets over a lake, that's kind of what it looks like it's doing. So if you have enough bandwidth to kind of play with the way it seems like things disappear, you could, but this one was gone for days and he was in a bark lounger where they found him, right? Watching Matlock. So you have a world of possibilities, but just take something that couldn't possibly be personified and do something with it. That's what I want. How's that sound? All right.
Fantastic.
Well, then, if you want, you can mute or shut off your camera or whatever. I'll probably mute everybody so that we don't hear each other. But on your marks, get set, right. You have about a minute left. All right, do your best to come back, stop what you're doing, and set the world on fire with your creativity. I muted all of you, so if you're expecting to talk, I put you on mute. How'd it go? If you look in the chat, I put the 5S's image in there from my talk and attributed it to Katie Schultz, who it's her idea. So don't ever think it's mine. It's definitely hers. I think it's brilliant. And then I put a PDF in the chat also, so you could have today's work, and the next one's way too long to go in the space. But if you also want me to share screen and show it instead, I can do that too. Either way, if you have trouble getting to the PDF. Who would like to share what you got?
I'll go first. I'll mix things up.
Way to go, Randall.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. And what we often do for people who haven't been here much is we sometimes just get super excited and, like, oh my God, you said a thing, and we type it in the chat. So if we love something or get pulled out by something, you can throw it in the chat or just talk about it at the end.
Haley decided not to come back this time. Some said he's selfish because they want to gaze on his luminescence once more, taking in the spectacle of his coming as he rushes back from the void to take his brief seat at the hearth. It's selfish, they say. I've waited decades for this. And maybe that's why he didn't come back. Maybe he's tired of being a sideshow, being valued only for his predictability, his dependability, the worth that he brings, his spectacle. No one thinks of him as he swims in the blackness, alone, crying silently into the soundless abyss. They only look when he comes to the fire to burn himself, to shed pieces of himself as he is worn to a fissured ball of nothingness by the passage of time and the caress of curious, uncaring eyes. He searches now, searches for a place to end it all in a conflagration of spectacular oblivion, but he'll do it in nothingness. Even now, he can't bring himself to hurt others.
I don't think we know who Haley is, or well, I mean, everybody else probably does.
It's Haley's Comet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nicely done. I'm an idiot. What did we love? Lori loved the fissured body of nothingness. Since she can't talk, I thought I would speak up for her.
I like this perspective it takes that I think is a uniquely Earth perspective, that the only time he has a spectacle is fire because there's nothing else out there. Thought that was fun. But what if there's more out there? What if he does a show every night?
Oh, because he's doing a show for someone other than us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I wondered who the I was. I've waited decades for this. Oh, you're not going to tell us.
I didn't think I was supposed to explain.
Oh, I am actually curious, Randall, who the I is.
I was kind of using that as almost like a collective voice, just a voice overheard talking about the comic.
Oh, yeah, nice. Definitely. We loved crying silently into the soundless abyss. I loved shed pieces of himself, especially because I didn't even understand it was the comet, but even more so now that I do. Cress of curious, uncaring eyes is perfect. Suzanne burn himself. Yeah, these are all amazing. Did somebody else spell? Yeah, I couldn't tell if Caress had 2 R's. I really love spell check. Randall, that was fantastic. Surprise. Thank you. Who's next?
I can go next.
Okay.
I was just gonna try and upload. I don't know how to do this. This is the picture from my office. So it makes more sense. I have no idea how to upload a picture. But anyway, just to give everyone a visual, I'm in Las Vegas. I can see the Coral Basin, and the mountains are shaped like waves. Slowly, impersonally, the rocks shift like waves, that the waves they impersonate. Their peaks ebb and flow, rise and fall as the red rocks burst in slow, tepid moments into a glory of dance. They rise up, wave to me and to all who happen to look at them for that moment before I look away, and they still again as if it's imagination. But no, the rocks are 10 inches to the left of my window. They've moved. It's not just me. And I look away and back, and they have stopped in their new position. Like me, stepping one step forward at a time, moving slowly, continuously, glazily, speedily hurtling towards something else.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Lori, you're unmuted.
Yep, I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay!
Gotcha.
I guess it's my headphones that are just something's off with them.
I thought you were going to say something amazing. I'm waiting for you.
Amazing. It was amazing.
I love the grouping of adverbs at the end of it, which normally we wouldn't love, right? Except for that with the repetition, they were like one step forward at a time. And then it was things like, and I can't remember them all, but speedily was in there, swiftly was in there, but glacially was in there too. And I love that concept that we could be moving at our own rate of rush towards something in the future, and the waves are doing it, on a time scale that humans can't even comprehend, right? Really nice. What else, everybody? Suzanne noticed the wave-like motion of the away and back and the away and back, which is really nice. I agree.
I'm trying to figure out if I can upload a picture, but this is like way beyond my, got it in.
And Fernanda
Zoom in.
said rocks shift like waves. Katie said glory of dance. And here comes the photo. Yeah, nice. Really nice.
Oh.
Though I would say that my mental image of it is almost better without having the photo. So nice job painting an idea that I liked even better than your photo. For me anyway, as a personal reader. Good job, Elisa. I'm kind of rushing because I want as many people as possible to go because this is fun. Who's next?
I'll do it.
Thanks, Jessie.
Yep. Okay. Henry had watched the water build behind the walls of the dam for years, mountain runoff that whisked away his frustrations, only to transform them into something productive for the people who fueled him, clean, free energy for the town he hated. Somewhere down the line, stopped absorbing his hatred and simply became it, falling from the sky like God's promise to cleanse the holler, like a sign that Henry should help. The holy water's body swayed against concrete and stone, stopped from plummeting into the valley only by Henry's clever engineering and his promise to wait for better things to come. But they weren't coming. The minister saw to that. So Henry bent his ear to the water and listened for the hymn it whispered between the lapping waves and the hissing spray, God's fiercest warrior begging to wash the town in the blood of the ridge's suffering. So he placed the bombs and stepped away, happy to let the sins of Holler sink in anews.
Oh,
Very good.
I'm using this to work on my next work in progress. I'm excited. All of them.
Oh my gosh, the bomb, Randall says. Goosebumps from Suzanne, because we know a little, they know Henry better than I do, but I know a teeny bit about him. Yeah. Randall says, do it, Henry, do it.
I want
if
him
you-
to. We'll see
If y'all don't speak up, I'll read it for you. So Suzanne and I both loved that he simply became the hatred. Oh, that was amazing. Mountain
thought-
runoff whisked away his frustrations. Yeah. Elisa?
I was gonna say, it reminded me of like, you know, when he listens to the hymn in the water, I wasn't sure if it was the hymn with a Y or an I.
Oh, written as
Ooh.
like the church hymnal, you know?
Yeah, whether it was, or whether he was just listening to his own self.
Mhm.
Especially with all the hatred in the holler. Yeah. It's so easy to hear that those voices inspire him to do what he does, right? Yeah. Anything else big to that brilliant piece? I'm glad you got work done on something you're doing. All right, amazing, Jesse. Thank you. Lori, I only muted you because when you type it's loud, but you can unmute and talk anytime.
I don't even notice. Sorry, I won't type anymore either.
Oh, it's fine to type. Then you're in the chat. Just letting you know why I did it. Does
Okay.
anybody else want to read?
Well, I can read mine. if you want. It's
Awesome.
fine. Niagara Falls had it. I'm sick of generating power. Let someone generate power for me for a change. So Mr. Falls packed up his water and headed for the airport, intending to take the first flight south. Sorry, you're over the limit for liquids on a plane, said the security guard. You're allowed 3.4 ounces and you have 3,160 tons. Mr. Falls sat down and cried, but no one could tell he was crying. So he fled the airport. If he couldn't fly, no one would.
Sorry. Somebody go, I'm laughing
Brilliant.
too hard.
Over the limit.
Well, I grew
Oh
up
my
in Niagara
God.
Falls, so I had to use it.
Yeah. This is the humor we've come to expect from you. We love it.
I can't stop. Lori, you have to send that out. That is
You have
so
to.
funny. 1,000% send it to all the places. That is so funny. What do all of you love? Like Katie loves that it's over the limit for liquid on a plane, which is, yeah, of course. And did
Yeah.
you go find the actual number for,
I had to go look it up, yeah.
yeah, which
What
is
you're
what makes
allowed
it funnier.
Yeah.
I'm literally crying.
I loved that he started crying, but no one could tell because
Yes.
he's just water.
And I think what's so funny about it, and I'm not good at humor, but I think what's so funny is that let somebody else, you know, let somebody make power for him is a natural progression. So he goes to get on a plane and of course the liquid, and then of course nobody can tell he's crying. Like, I mean, it's the obvious things, but then he floods the airport, which, you know, like it's a perfect progression, but it's hilarious because we wouldn't have predicted it except for we should have, right? Is that how it works? I mean, y'all are better at humor than I am.
I think a lot of it's just about the absurdity aspect. Like we suspend our disbelief, and then she continually chips at that. Like, why did you think this would work? This is why this wouldn't work. And I
Yeah.
think that's, for me, that's why it works.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, Lori is the queen of humor, and literally this is what, the type of thing I was hoping for in the prompt. I mean, like, my heart's so warm because that was the prompt I was writing, and you wrote it. That was amazing. Love it. Anything else for Lori? Because other than perfection, what do we think?
Fantastic.
Thanks, Lori.
Yeah, send it out, especially
Yeah,
to the
please.
places that take themselves too seriously.
Please.
Yeah, start with Smoke Long Quarterly. They take themselves very seriously. And then the Missouri Review. And, oh, I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, start with
The New
those two
Yorker,
places.
yeah, send it to all of them. There you go.
You know, the New Yorker, I could see, though, the New Yorker is kind of willing
Oh,
to go
They are
absurd.
getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, because they could do a really good image with it, right? And they love
Oh,
doing, yeah. Send
that's
it
true.
to
The
the New
graphic would
Yorker.
be
Why
really fun.
not? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what? Also send it to the national parks, because I don't know about Niagara specifically, but like the Worcester, the Washington State DOT and the Washington State parks, their tweets are just beyond stupid funny. I mean, they
Yeah.
are phenomenal, whoever runs Washington's Twitter. And they might even, there's no recognition, whatever, but
Yeah.
they'll publish that.
The national parks are the actual national parks themselves are just killing it with their hilarious. Like, don't push down a friend when you're running away from a bear, no matter how much you don't like them. That's the kind of thing that they're putting up. They're really funny. And they've made themselves relevant through, humorous, edgy social media. But no, first send it to the places, Lori. I'm dead serious. I'd be really surprised if somebody didn't pick it up. Okay. And not just because I laughed so hard I had to mute. It's exactly what Randall said. He described it better. Who wants to go next? And if anybody doesn't want to go, that's fine. Just wave off.
I can go.
Okay, thanks, Fernanda.
Okay. As the sun stared down and watched humanity complain yet again about how hot June was, he decided to pack his bags. In old vanity, he decided the only thing he really needed were his spot creams. Perhaps he'd visit Andromeda, its nicest time of year, or maybe let himself be sucked into an interdimensional black hole. Who knows? The possibilities were endless now that he wouldn't have to worry about alarm clocks to remind him of sunrises and sunsets. He wouldn't have to worry about summer or solstices. All he would finally worry about all he would finally worry about was what flavor he'd get on his Stardust Cosmopolitan.
I love it. Everything's taking a vacation in this round. I love the flippancy of like, maybe I'll jump into a black hole. Who knows? Could be fun.
Yeah, yeah. What's that thing that people used to do? Feeling cute, something, something. It has that
Feeling
feel
cute, might
to it.
delete later. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had an absolute sort of like hot tub whirlpool eddy feeling of jumping into a black hole. Like that would be literally something that suns look forward to doing on their vacations.
Or
Yeah.
like the bungee jumping equivalent, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the not having to worry about the alarm clocks. That for me was the best line. I love that.
Yeah, the feeling that the sun itself would have to have an alarm clock, because of course that juxtaposes the fact that we only need that because our earth turns, right? And the sun is constant. So it's exactly hilarious because the sun doesn't need an alarm clock, but yours does. It's fantastic. Yeah. And the Stardust Cosmopolitan, I said that. Do you go by Fernie? You're muted.
Oop,
There you go.
sorry. Yeah, Fernie or Fernanda, both are good.
Nice. You all know each other better because you're over in that other channel that I can't keep up with. So yeah. I just love it. Sorry. I love nicknames, and that one's a really good one.
Thank you.
And what the sun's last straw was. Absolutely. And Andromeda is nice this time of year. Just this feeling that there's an entire universe. Like you subtly set a setting that makes Earth unimportant, in the context of a sun. Like there's an entire different universe that the sun's participating in. And that's why vacation is so great for the sun, because they can go all the places we can only dream of. It was really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, celestial bodies, celestial Lori can come up with something punny. For sure she can. Look at her nodding over there already. All right, who would like to read next? We're making good time. I think we can just pull it off, or we can move on to the next one. It's up to you guys. Nobody's leaping in. We're going to move on. Were you all able to open the PDF that I sent? And if not, I can just share screen and I'll just share screen, right? I mean, we love each other, but we don't have to see each other all the time. Share screen, share this screen, share. Okay. What we're looking at now is I'm gonna blow it up so it's one thing. There we go. The Gothic Heroine Takes Matters into Her Own Hands by Sarah McPherson, who I would swear I know, but I think it's just the same name as somebody who just stopped being on the team lead staff at SNHU. I'm not sure. Because she's from England. I read her bio and she's from Sheffield, which has to be England, right?
Yes.
Or Britain or something.
Mhm.
Who'd like to read?
I got it.
Thanks, Randall.
The Gothic heroine decides one day that she is sick and tired of wandering through shadowy, cobweb-strewn corridors and throws open all the curtains in the great arched windows. Admittedly, it doesn't make that much difference as the storm outside still rages over the windswept moor, but at least there's a little more light on the situation. As her mysterious employer broods in his library, she takes broom and duster to every other room and sweeps away the detritus of decades, ushers out a host of spiders who have dwelled there for generations. The housekeeper tuts and shakes her head, but eventually, grudgingly assists. The Gothic heroine is not quite sure what the housekeeper has been doing with her time for all these years, because it certainly wasn't keeping house. The drapes are still faded, but look much brighter after a wash, and a bit of polish and elbow grease really brings out the grain of the ancient floorboards. Her mysterious employer rings the bell, echoing through the lofty halls, and the housekeeper worries off to see what he wants now. The Gothic heroine is quite certain it won't be her, as he has made his disdain for her quite clear, and the other thing she is sick and tired of is waiting for crumbs of his attention. She makes a cup of tea, stares out of the now sparkling window at the storm, and as lightning plays across the clouds and the rain settles in for the day, she wonders what the weather is like in the south of France this time of year.
What do you think?
Oh, that was great.
What makes it funny? Like, what is she playing with?
It's kind of the tropes from all of that, Gothic literature that, it's the things that yeah, of course, that's what's going to happen because that's what always happens.
Right.
I
Right.
also,
And
she voiced all the things that we all think, but we don't say.
yeah, nice. Yeah. And I mean, so if you were to put it in the movie genre, don't open the shed, don't go in the house, don't go to the basement, don't, right? And this person does the things, or you're like, why don't you just leave? And she's like, hey, I might go to the south of France, right? Were any of these tropes particularly funny once they got polished up and clean?
To me, the spider one was the best.
I like the one where the housekeeper, like, what was she doing the whole time? Because there's always a housekeeper in
Yeah,
these.
or 20 of them, but the house is still completely a mess. So
Yeah, exactly. All right, so our prompt is, hey, see how McPherson directly throws open the curtains on tropes of Gothic horror, just as Randall said. Pick a genre. I name a few, but there could be others. I guess I did say Gothic horror, but regular horror too. And use the stereotypes you find in the genre to poke fun at the expectations. Or basically, you don't have to be poking fun, just turn them on their head, go in a new direction. Yeah? Okay. You guys ready to write? Got an idea? Or hope-
Maybe figure it out.
That's part of what the pressure is so good about, right? Okay, on your marks, get set, right. You have a little less than a minute left. Time's back. Come on up. Hold on for just a second. I'm back. How'd it go?
Good. Way easier than the other one.
Way easier?
Way easier.
I'm seeing some big shruggies from some of our main people. So easier for some, not so easy for others. Okay. Yay! I'm so happy to read that, Suzanne. That's fantastic. You know, I mean, it's better to have too many stories to write than not enough. Awesome. Oh no. Suzanne, do you want to read what you got then? Because it sounds exciting.
Yeah, so I didn't get to quite the prompt part, but I think you guys will see where I'm going with it.
Okay.
What are you, 12? The hero before him huffed with indignation. I'm 16, plenty old enough to be the likes of you. Corporal looked down at the little enchanter, his chest puffed out, battle stance, fire burning in his eyes. Did you just start sparking a fire at his fist? That carpet's new. And the staff swirling with possibilities. Corbo didn't reply, simply watching the child hero with an expression somewhere between amusement and annoyance. He didn't know if the boy's bravado was a defense mechanism or a simple foolishness, but it didn't matter. The fact that this 16-year-old enchanter was standing between him and his goal. On my way, kid, Corvo grunted, taking a step forward. The enchanter straightened his spine, his grips tightening on the staff. I'll do no such thing, he retorted boldly. The fire crackling in his palms grew brighter and hotter. You shall not pass. Corvo paused mid-stride, raising an eyebrow at the familiar phrase. Really? Going to pull that one on me? You know, that's a cliche line from the other world. I suppose it's not common here yet. The enchanter raised his staff high above his head, a gust of hot air ballooning from the fire as if it fueled his determination alone. I mean it. I will stop you. Enchanter, what are you stopping me from? From fulfilling a prophecy that will only bring destruction upon us all. The enchanter's voice echoed through the cavernous chamber, reverberating against the cold stone walls. His eyes closed with defiance, his young face a stern mask. Corvo laughed, a sound echoing in the darkness. You believe in prophecies now? Too much time spent with those dusty old tones. I believe in what I see, the boy shot back. He lowered his staff, pointing it directly at Corvo. I see a man blinded by ambition, willing to unravel the fabric of our world with his own gain. And I see a child playing at heroism, Corvo retorted, dark magic crackling around his own fingertips. Send you out here alone to stop me? Seems like they don't value your life too much. It's not about me, said the enchanter sharply. It's about what I stand for, what we all stand for.
Okay, there's no way you did that in 6 minutes.
I typed it. I did not write it.
So are we kind of spoofing the chosen one here?
Exactly.
And is he gonna lose? Like spectacularly?
I was thinking he was gonna lose, but then I was thinking that the chosen one realizes that being the chosen one is just a sacrifice and a gimmick, and so
Uh-huh.
the chosen one turns into the villain at the end. With
Oh,
Okay.
So the villain remains the big guy.
oh yeah,
Yeah, nice, nice. I really love it because it's like all the things where we know that he would just get crush this little guy, but this little guy ends up being the hero, which is amazing. The enchanter.
Mhm.
And was it too much time with stones? He said what I see is
Homes like
tomes, Tombs. Yeah. Um, I heard phones because
yeah.
and I was like, no way, there's phones in this world, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah, like the Corvo can go between different realities, so it's kind of thinking he brings that in, which is why he knows like the Lord of the Rings reference.
Oh,
it
nice.
was
Yeah.
it was very slightly giving like Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, you know,
Yeah.
like bringing in all this external knowledge to a pair like an alternate place.
Yeah.
So is he in a different realm or is he just in a different time or like you know what I mean?
He's gonna be he could like walk the realms.
Mm.
So now he's just happens to be in this one because he needs an artifact or something from this world to power his own games. Which I haven't decided yet if it's going to be like one of those situations where he's like actually trying to destroy the fabric of reality, or if he's like not actually evil, you know, like, yeah, does he do shitty things? Yeah, but it's for not like a huge bad thing, if that makes sense.
Right.
It'll be fun to play with. I'm excited to keep working with this one eventually. Like
Yeah.
superhero fantasy world, love.
I love the sass, like, you know, this totally the 16-year-old voice. I love that. It was just like, you know, you're gonna really play that game against me. Totally perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I can't wait for you to keep writing on this one. I mean, you know, you only have a couple books to finish first, but yay. Good job. Wonderful. I cannot believe it is snowing here. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thanks, Randall.
I have something for you. What the hell is this? That is a laser sword. It's been passed down through generations. A sword? Shouldn't it be a gun? Don't be silly. This is a refined weapon from a more civilized age. It belonged to your father. Yeah? And what happened to him? I bet he got shot while he was running around with a fucking sword. Well, that's it, isn't it? He got shot. Yes, but that's beside the point. He was a great warrior, armed with the unstoppable power of the push. Oh, I get it. Because push is a force? Force, get it? Listen, smartass, do you want your laser sword or not? Sure. It's probably worth a lot as an heirloom. Then I can pawn it for a gun. Don't mock what you don't understand. The push is far more powerful than you realize. Maybe. But if push comes to shove, I'd rather just have a gun.
This feels like it comes out of the universe of what is that series of like such and such the third, the fourth, the fifth that you had for a second?
I tried to work him in. Yeah, Sir
I
Richard
felt
did.
it.
Yeah, I tried to work him in, but I couldn't do it. So,
Yeah. He's a cousin, this one is.
yeah,
Some
yeah, yeah.
kinfolk.
Yeah.
Surely, though, you're playing with Star Wars too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
the
yeah.
point. But yeah, I was there's a name that carries in the liminal. I've been writing this series of Sir Richard Head, you know, the joke being dickhead,
Yeah.
but every generation of him gets killed in some stupid way on the battlefield. So I was trying to name this Jedi Richard, but I couldn't get there. So
But you could with more time, I bet
oh yeah,
you.
for sure.
Snowflakes the size of 50-cent pieces falling around my house. I'm sorry, just blown away.
Yeah.
I love it. Everything about the like, don't bring a sword to a gunfight, like Lori said. Yeah. Which is, I mean, why at least in Star Wars they can stop the laser bullets. But yeah,
Right.
that's perfect.
Yeah, I was playing
Anything-
with that idea, you know, of like how the heck do you stop a laser with a sword? Like that's always blown me away. So it's like I'm gonna play with this. Like the goal was to actually have him get to the battlefield and get shot when he tries to do it, but I didn't get there.
But you could.
Oh yeah, more time.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. It was really funny. Anything else for Randall? Fan freaking tastic. Who's next? Elisa? Okay.
The dragon roared as he took flight, landing 12 feet further away, and stopped, glaring back in triumph towards the sleeping dog, who opened an eye, did a down dog, and moved to plop down next to the dragon, huffing at the curl of smoke heading her way. The cat opened an eye, looked at both from her perch, and went back to sleep, the most majestic of all three.
That's funny. When did we know what Elisa was up to? And I want to know, like, so this dragon only flies 12 feet. Is it because the dragon's afraid?
Yeah, it was making a point that it could fly, and the other two are just not impressed.
It's definitely against the tropes of dragons being all powerful, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the dog's like, yeah, whatever, let me do a down dog and then I can get going. And the cat's just like, yeah, fuck you both. I'm just not
Can't,
moving.
can't even be bothered.
Yeah, I feel like the energy came in with the down dog because I just feel like there's this attitude around yoga specifically that was felt, you know?
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, it took me forever to figure out that down dog was down dog.
Yep.
Yeah. Nicely done. Turned it on its head. Nice job. Who's next? Oh, I thought Katie had raised her hand, but she's clapping.
Yeah.
That's okay. First time in the group, this can be, you know, a little overwhelming because it's like some of you's 30th time in the group, you know, so we definitely want to cut the first timers a little bit of slack. Who wants to read? Fernanda, you unmuted. Are you interested?
Yeah, I can go. Okay. For the 1,000th time, said Mr. Cupid, butterflies aren't actually found in stomachs, it's just an expression. The new trainee was getting on Mr. Cupid's last nerve, but he'd been the only one to respond to the ad. He took a sip of his coffee. If I have to hear someone say they've been struck by my arrow ever again, I'm going to lose it. All right, from the beginning, he sighed. The trainee, dressed in the uncomfortable white-looking diaper, looked at him and started reciting. It's all about the rose-colored glasses that attract the masses, aim for their tush, not their smushy heart. That doesn't rhyme, though. Give it time. You'll get tired of the rhymes, too. That's
I feel like we're at comedy night right now.
Yeah.
This is a real hoot.
Yeah.
That's good play.
I love the uncomfortable diapers.
The aim for their tush, not their smushy heart. Would it absolutely the rhyme I was thinking of, which was going to be ass. I love it when that is always like diverted from.
Yeah.
Gets me every time.
Yeah, that was great.
And I love the butterflies, that they aren't real. Oh, that was very, very good.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, my animals are shivering. I have to go dry them and get them in the barn. I'm so sorry. So I just made Randall host, and thank you. You're amazing. You inspire me. I appreciate it. Okay.
Be careful out there in the June blizzard.
Yeah, right. And Sarah would love for somebody to read her work, please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry. Bye.